So round one, we ended up against Warwickshire Warhawks Albatross, and I ended up very specifically against Alex and their Emperor's Children. So Emperor's Children was a matchup that I put down as a four. So ended up as thought it was going to be broadly positive. So wanted to score sort of within a sort of 12 to 15 point range. As a result, that was my prediction. That's on WTC scoring, so 0 to 20 system for those who aren't familiar. And there are a couple of reasons that. So I'll go over why, and then I'll look at some pictures of the game to make things a little bit more, hopefully visually interesting. But this is Alex's list. 2 Demon Princes, 2 Lord Exultants, a few Infractor squads, a couple of Tormentor squads, 2 Chaos Rhinos, 2 Defilers, 2 Noisemarine squads. And the reason I put it as a 4 was broadly I felt that they just didn't have the right damage into Death Guard. So I played this matchup actually on the Tuesday before the event against a local player of mine called Luke, who's read the book before, has appeared in some of the teams things we do there. And it was broadly the same list, and I had broadly the same sort of thoughts going into in the sort of our game confirmed that ended up 15-5-ish as sort of broadly Death Guard favoured. So to look at it, I think historically the best units in Emperor's Children are the Lord Exultants. They are a lot of damage to attacks. Their go turn is really, really nasty, combined with the Infractor squads to do a really, really high amount of damage with their ability. The Demon Princes I've always found to be annoying, but they're quite expensive and they are quite damage light. Like they're mortals to do something, but like 8-2-3 as their combat profile with 6 attacks is not a profile I'm scared of as Death Guard. And if it is late game and they've got some buffs off, Coterie can spike to really, really high damage volume with rerolls and lethals and crits and what have you. Then I can potentially -1 damage and neuter either of these 2 units. So they're 2 big melee damage dealers. I'm not afraid of, and that allows me to play much more aggressively in the matchup. They have a decent amount of trading pieces, but they don't have enough to really scare me. I feel I should outtrade them, and that leads to the units I am scared of. So Noisemarines are they're good units, but again, if I really need to, -1 damage really neuters them. The only unit, therefore, that I'm really scared of is these 2 Defilers here with the Ectoplasms and Last Cannons, because they can potentially come out, kill a drone, kill 2 drones, charge another, and really swing the game. And with that extra mobility from Emperor's Children in particular, it makes them scary. That said, essentially the only unit that I'm really scared of in the army is these 2 Defilers. It's 500 points. I feel I should outtrade them. I feel I should force them to commit first. I feel I should therefore be able to take out the Defilers when they get close. I feel that I should have control of the game and should be able to leverage that into a strong win. So that's why I predicted it as a 4. So going from the sort of the hypothetical to the reality, this was my deployment turn 1. I've got 20 or 30 pictures or so each game, and I'll talk through what I was sort of trying to do each. So this is deployment. The first round was Terraform on, I think, sweeping engagement, so the deployment lines sort of go like that, very roughly. And I think this is before my this is before my scout. So Teleman on my home objective, got a grenade drone, a bloat launcher drone over out here, so he can come out and threaten the wide channels. I have the spawn in the open, so they can either scout onto the middle objective, they can scout up aggressively and threaten this objective, or they can jump inside the various buildings and find a bit of screening and things in case Emperor's Children get aggressive early on. I had Pogswalkers upfield on the objective to stick it. So if I go first, I can sticky 2 objectives and sort of reverse that sort of balance where oftentimes when you go first, you're the one that has to expose yourself first, and therefore you lose units first. If I go first, I can put 2 units on the objective, sticky them, and then retreat to safety, which is actually what I do in this matchup. To force the opponent to have to come out and commit first, because if they don't, then I just score some easy primary points in the middle. The other big thing was I out-drop Emperor's Children, so I could see where the Defilers were going to go. So they've got their 2 Defilers here. This is the unit I'm scared of. My best counter to that is the Blight Haulers. They're Melters, so I have 2 in the middle, so anything that comes out into the middle I can easily get across to shoot. And then this one comes over here to threaten this angle as well. This one, if it comes over here, it's a bit more awkward for me to get at, but it's also in a position where it's not really shooting much, so it's not a threat. So that was the basic component. That's where my important things wanted to go. The Demon Prince comes central. He sort of always ends up there in every game. He is not that killy for his points, but he is really awkward for opponents to deal with. So getting him in a position where he can come and affect this middle objective either with his own damage or with his aura to provide CP and make the other units there a bit more effective is nice. And then I have the Flesh Mower drone here and here to just to take out any marine units that might be coming here. So I've gone quite hard in the middle to counter the Defiler push. I'm a little bit light on this flank, which is a shame, but it's hard for me to interact with. I don't have a lot of speed. I just kind of want to keep them honest there and accept this is going to be Emperor's Children for a while. Try and counter their things and then try and play slow here. If it's hard for me to get to this one, it should be hard for Emperor's Children to get here as well. So slightly better look at Emperor's Children deployment. They have some Tormentors here, and on their home objective for sticky and some early control, we've got 2 Defilers here. We have their Warlord Demon Prince here, and the Warlord Prince is really important in Coterie because if I ever do get a chance to kill it, that means their pledge isn't going to go up anymore, and their damage gets much more limited as a result. They've got 2 Rhinos with Infractors in to scout and Lord Exalters, and you've got some Noise Marines nearby that plan to hop in the Rhinos. In reserve, they had 1 Demon Prince, and I had both of my Terminator squads. I think I did that for every game. Their job is to very much come in, counter-attack turns 2, 3, or spearheader push, depending on what's going on. I ended up going first. First thing I did was ask the opponent what they were pledging, so that's their Coterie rule, see how many kills they think they're going to get. They pledged 1. So with sticky objectives, I immediately was like, cool, you're not going to get that. I'm going to try and delay your damage coming online as long as possible. And I can do that without being worried about their scoring going up. So turn 1 is exceptionally cagey for me. The spawn scout up, they then come back. These come in over here. The Poxwalkers that were on the objective come back. So I don't even terraform these 2 objectives. I just leave them as sticky. And essentially say to Emperor's Children, you've got to come out first. You're going to bleed a unit first. You're not going to get your Coterie points started. They can't realistically get a kill. They have 1 chance, which is there. This squad can come in and try something, either on my Tallyman or my home objective, or they can try their luck into some spawn, neither of which I'm particularly worried about. But all their big guns aren't getting anywhere, and again, it's forcing the Emperor's Children to come out and start the trading game on my terms, in effect. So yeah, just a few on the left side. This is here to keep sort of them honest. Emperor's Children could have sent the squad here. It's a reasonably long charge. I probably should have at least put this guy on here or something, or maybe have these spawn scout here. But I wanted to inch on the wall of this building and stop anything coming in. Probably would have been correct to send a spawn here to just counter this off a bit, but it wasn't an option they ended up taking, so it happened. All right. So, skipping ahead right to my turn 2, Emperor's Children turn was equally as slow as mine. They put just 1 unit in the middle to terraform the middle objective, and then on my turn I denied 1 sort of thing of Coterie. They couldn't get any kill, so next turn they just pledged I think 2, and this is important. So they're getting their real ones to hit online, but they're not getting anything more than that. They could up a pledge, but blah blah. So I sent some spawn over to, this is my left objective, so their natural expansion, to spawn, try and take out some of their infractors on the objective. They weren't able to kill two, they killed a couple. They rapid ingressed a team print to come and make sure they held the objective, which was annoying but life. It also means it can come and play some counter pressure to my drone that's sort of down out of shot over here. So they could have heroics, they elected not to, which I think might have been a mistake. It wasn't an impactful thing, but it just gets a unit here dead a bit easier. And the worry with spawn is that they tie something up, which is much less of a worry than Emperor's Children if this is going to run off down here anyway. I think they didn't because they didn't want to take the mortals from the spawn attacks, which is fair enough, and they end up killing the spawn without any issues. It's not a material difference. In the centre, I sort of wanted to force the Emperor's Children out a bit more. They had Infractor Squad here that's killed without any real difficulty. Spawn and Pox was now come out to terraform. So Emperor's Children have terraformed here, so I definitely want to do that one back. Here I just touch onto the very edge objective and do it here. Prepared to give up the 1 point, prepared to make sure they can't get a pledge early at the cost of not getting a terraform as easily, but you don't score at turn 1 anyway, so jumping onto it turn 2 is fine. I don't think Emperor's Children are realistically doing anything about it. It's a reasonably long way, and I've got lots of units around here that can come and easily take out a sort of marine body unit, so I'm not worried about them coming out. If they come out here and take out a Boxwalk unit, sure, they lose primary, but they're really trading down there. Demon Prince in the middle, he's to force the Defilers out. I've tried to get a little bit more aggressive with him over the tournament. Last tournament, I was probably a little bit too passive. I'll probably put a drone here instead. But the only Emperor's Children unit that's realistically doing anything to this are these two Defilers, and I've got 2 drones here and 1 drone over here of the Melter variety. So if a Defiler comes out here, all of these can get out and start causing problems. This is the end of my turn 2, just overlooking. Not much has died yet. They've lost an Infractor Squad and a couple of Tormentors here. I haven't lost a unit yet, so it's going quite slowly. But I've sort of set the challenge down, and I've kept the Terminators in reserve. They didn't have any great targets, and I didn't want to. The one target that would be interesting would be this Prince. I obviously didn't know he was coming down here because he rapid ingressed. Even if I could have come down and shot him, the Blight Laws get double plasma to the face, which I don't love at this stage. So yeah, nice and slow early start for Death Yard, but we've put sort of pressure on EC to come and do something. So yeah, just look at the situation going into Emperor's Children turn 2. One of my annoyingly blurry shots, but it does rather show the game state on the left flank. So this is their Prince at rapid ingress. It's coming over here to attack my drone and put some pressure on my home objective. They send some Infractors out here to come and kill the spawn. And then coming onto the middle, because the Prince is here, this Defiler comes out and they end up with display of might, so they send out the Noise Marines here. If they don't send out this Defiler, I can -1 damage the Noise Marines, and they probably don't kill the spawn, and the Prince survives as well, and I hold the objective. The second Defiler can't really get out. These are spaced to make it maybe not impossible, but very awkward for a Defiler to get out. It's got to get all the way over here, which even for Emperor's Children and the movement of the Defilers is going to be awkward. So they send one out, they keep one behind the wall to keep it safe. Demon Prince comes here, and this is the wall of one. It elects not to engage my Prince. Just because my Prince probably outfights it, even with the Mortals, and it just leaves their warders in a really exposed position. So they clear off my spawn. They can't get into these guys. Again, they spawn, stopping the Defiler's big old base getting round and into there. But they're at the end of the turn, they've killed some spawn. I think they might have chipped away my Demon Prince a little bit with some shooting. But essentially, I've not lost anything, and I've forced out a Defiler and a Prince to coming out. So yeah, same time frame. Just looking over on the right objective, I'm able to hold the objective. It's nice. It makes the scoreboard ticking over quite nicely. We're both holding our expansions at this point, so scoreboard's evenish. but Emperor's Children are exposed first because there is a infractor unit in this with a Lord Exultant, so these guys just keep back to keep them honest at this stage. Just another shot of the middle again. So yeah, Demon Prince comes out, he charges the drone. This is kind of why I was saying at the start why I don't respect him. It did something like 3 or 4 mortals on the charge and then 3 damage on the drone in combat. It might not have even done that. I know it makes one save from memory. The Demon Prince's that damage just doesn't line up well into Death Guard. They're always wounding on 5, so unless their Coterie goes buff does really go off and they're getting sort of crit, they're getting lethals from somewhere, or sustained, or crit 5s or something, then their damage just sort of comes in and they're like, oh, that's annoying, I took a few mortals, I'm still alive. So it's rather go time for Death Guard. What I hope to do with this turn is essentially take out everything except maybe the one Defiler that's hiding behind here, and I have a chance to do that, but I get a little bit cowardly and play a little bit safe. So I went in with the mindset of I want to kill 2 Defilers, which essentially send all of this stuff after one, send my Prince into their Prince, start going after it, and then I had an interesting decision what to do with the Death Shroud, and they end up coming over here. I decided I didn't want to risk a Defiler Overwatch to the face, so I've got space here to 6-inch Deep Strike and charge in, but there's no way I can do it without... I was trying to see if I could get around here to get cover, because that makes their excruciating cannons much less effective, and then it's just a case of are their last cannons or plasma popping off, which is something I might risk, but in the end I got a little bit afraid, and I felt if I take out one Defiler, these guys can charge on the home objective, then I don't take the risk of losing a squad to Overwatch, and I put the pressure on from a scoring point of view, and I leave only one unit that I'm really afraid of, so it felt worth it on a sort of pro-con basis. So all the melter drones come up to try and take out a Defiler. The 2 flesh mower drones move up to start trying to scare the Noise Marine squad, and this one, it's got a long charge into there, it's got a shorter charge into there, and I hope that if these guys low roll they can take it out in combat, and this guy comes up to come and have get some shots on here. So I'm trying to get Noise Marine squad, Defiler, this guy, take out the Infractors on the home objective, and I try not to get the Defiler here. And on to deal with this side, the drone that was in combat falls back here. It can't shoot, but it keeps it upfield. It means if Emperor's Children want to deal with it, they've got to come off the objective to get over here. It sets it up quite nicely for next turn, so even if it's tagged, it can shoot into the middle. And then the Blight Lords come down and shoot the Prince. And this is where I think the Blight Lords are so valuable for Death Guard, because a lot of Death Guard's combat is damage 2 and a lot of their shooting is damage 3. So things like -1 damage from a Prince really blunts that. But because so much of the Blight Lord shorting is really reliable damage 1 with those re-rolls, with everything is essentially auto hits or has lethals or has sustained, so it just sort of doesn't matter. So I positioned the 2 flails here. They can't see, but they give me a 9-inch charge here. The rest of them come down so they can at least see the wingtips of the Prince. And given that most of their shooting is going to be AP3, it doesn't really matter that they're getting cover against most of their shots at all. So drone flies over here so we can see there as well and provide a bit of assistance. And the turn goes really well. So the Blight Lords shoot this guy to death. This guy does a little bit of damage there. I kill the Defiler in the middle. These guys end up fighting. It doesn't come too much, but I also take Emperor's Children home objective with the Death Shroud. So yeah, here we have an end of shooting. These guys combined take out the Defiler. It's about as expected. It's always a bit scary shooting the Blight Haulers because their damage is really good, but it is very swingy. The melters are 2s and 4s into something with an invuln, but if a couple go through, then it just rips through a Defiler. So the 3 of them took it out without too many problems. Boxwalker sinking on the middle. I think this shoots the Rhino, so we just try and soften it up. And then these two come in, they kill the Noise Marines. This one's free, so it activates into the Rhino and ends up taking the last couple of wounds out. So opponents just started to disembark here. And hidden behind here are 4 Death Shroud that have killed the Tormentors here and have ended up on the home objective. So really, really good turn for Death Guard. The Demon Princes start fighting each other. Nothing to great effect happens. It's not surprising Demon Princes damage is always a bit disappointing. But we've really put the pressure on Emperor's Children here. So yeah, this is Emperor's Children position going to their turn. The Demon Prince is dead. They've still got a Noise Marine unit in here, and a Fracture unit there, and a Defiler. But I mentioned at the start, there's only so many units that do relevant damage, and this unit has got it's very high toughness, so it's very hard to get the right amount of damage in the right place a lot of the time. So that's the problem for Emperor's Children going into their turns. They're not only behind on scoreboard, they only have 5 primary here, but they've lost a lot of their really important units, and while Death Guard exposed, there's a lot of toughness and inbuns and things in the way. So yeah, just a shot on the right, Rhino's dead, Fractures come out without any damage, they've still got Lord Exalted there. So I think at this point, the opponent goes, I'm not going to win. It is a case of what can I do to stop Death Guard and make this as close as possible. So switching from a singles mindset, where you might think I need to take a risky play, to what is the right thing for teams, where you start thinking, what can I do to try and even the score. So this shows the sort of problem going into this. So Emperor's Children have a unit here. They have the Defiler here, and they have a Demon Prince, and they have 3 objectives to worry about, and they can't really deal with all of them, certainly not with all of this Death Guard stuff here. The shot from the left side going into Emperor's Children, turn 3. So, Emperor's Children take what is always a very heartbreaking decision of leaving Death Guard on their home objective. They think they can take these ones easier and deny them to me. So that's the route they go for. So they have to completely leave my Flesh Mowers and Death Shroud alone. They charge up field, they take out my Poxwalkers, which is a bit of a waste of this squad, but it denies me 5, it puts them there, it forces me to put some guys there next turn, and the Defiler and the Prince come out, and this sort of low-key shows why I like this version, why I chose to go this version instead of my own Defilers. So the Defiler comes out, and then it has to choose all of its scary guns and what they're going to shoot. And it ends up deciding to shoot all of them into one of my drones. Now, the Defiler could very much shoot an opposing Defiler and kill it very reliably. But when you're shooting a drone that's T9, 10 wounds, 5 pin run, you don't have to roll that badly for a drone to survive just the las cannons. So you end up having to put all of the guns into it, and sure, they kill it and they overkill it, but it means a lot of their damage is wasted. It's not, it capped at 10 wounds. Those extra wounds that would have probably gone on to a Defiler are not relevant. And then they charge into combat, and they only do 5 damage to this drone. Likewise, this one comes in, does a little bit of damage. I think it's mostly the mortals. And while Emperor's Children do a really good job of stopping me scoring, they take the middle, they deny me my expansion, they've not done that much damage. This is the situation at the end of their turn, and they've still got all of this to worry about. They do take out my Prince. It got grenaded, some noise brings out of the Rhino, and they charged into, I think, deal the last wound or 2. But again, I'm still using up resources. The Lord Exultant had to pop his best day ever, I think, to come and smack him off. These two come out and take the drone, so Emperor's Children not looking quite so bad on the left flank, but they do have this Blightlord brick that they essentially can't do anything about at this stage. So, Death Guard, turn 4. Nice thing about Death Guard, we sticky the objective, so we sticky their home objective. I think about terraforming here, but we've just got a chance to end the game if we make a Defiler charge with Death Shroud. It's about 8 inches, and I think that's worth the risk. And we make it. We need to use a CP reroll, but we get in. The 2 drones here combine to shoot the Wing Prince Death, so we get rid of any chance to do any more pledges, which I think got to about 3 or 4. in total, meaning they're just rerolling ones to hit, I think, and reroll ones to wounding. But they're not getting anything hard because they couldn't get anything turn 1. The 2 drones combine, and essentially we just obliterate this flank here. Death Shroud managed to kill what's a slightly damaged Defiler. These 2 guys come in to finish these off. We tank shock them just to make sure that we start the damage off nicely. I think we kill a couple of them, and then the 2 of them combine to kill this guy and then pile it onto the objective. We deliberately don't start on the objective because the Death Shroud are always going first into the Defiler, and I think I've got enough damage here to take it. Emperor's Children have 2 CP. We're not on the objective, so they don't get their rerolls. It's a risk in terms of scoring, but it means that these 2 guys are going to be very much safe from an interrupt, and even if they spike, they're not going to kill one of these realistically. Left flank goes very well. It was better than expected. I was struggling a bit to get to the middle. I moved the Blight Lords up, shot the squad that was here. We ended up doing quite a bit of damage with them, and this drone, even without expending many resources into it, I'm not sure I even used their CP rerolls. I think this squad might have even been out of contagion range. But yeah, we do well. We leave only the Exaltants alive. We charge the 2 guys here, and we slingshot 3 guys onto the objective, so we take it back from the Rhino. We completely nil Emperor's Children primary, and go into a really strong position. So yeah, right flank crushed, left flank under pressure. We've got the game. It's going to be a good win for Death Guard at this stage. Emperor's Children are really just scrapping for a couple of little points here and there now. So, Emperor's Children, I think this is their last play, essentially. Noise Runes come out. They put a couple of bodies back here to make sure the Death Light don't have the objective. This guy comes in. I overwatch him because I think they have area denial or something like that, and it's just a case of trying to get lucky. He survives. He comes in here. These guys shoot it off. They get a couple of points for them at this, a couple of secondary points. I think they bring it down at this stage, and they just make sure they get that. But yeah, this is I'm pretty sure the last shot of the game. Light Lords come in, finish all these guys up. I've got a million units to come and take out this guy, and there's a Rhino against about 70% of a Death Guard army that are still operating at full efficiency. So ends up going very well. Ends up being a 16-4 win for Death Guard. We sort of won both primary and secondary. The game plan essentially worked as intended. We drew the Defilers out. We butchered them when they did come out. We had more trading pieces, so pretty much a textbook game, and this was one of the games that actually went absolutely best to plan. As for the rest of the team, reasonably comfortable round. Byron's Demons played Necrons, when that ended up 18-2 in our favour. Sam took a 15-5 win over Nids. Hristo had a slight loss to Drukari, 13-7, or 7-13 I guess. And Dennis lost into Ultramarine 7-30. It's a very tough matchup for him in particular. And so we won the round overall 63-37. So really nice start to the event.